We are walking to each of the lower 48 states. This is how we got here.
More than half a decade ago, I got rid of everything I owned and backpacked several hundred miles through wilderness in the Rocky Mountains. I'd been working standard jobs my whole life. Whether an air-conditioned corporate job or hands-on construction, I didn't know contentment. I just knew I was unhappy. Is this all life is? Am I just waiting to die? Those thoughts weighed heavily on me. I felt like a wick slowly watching itself burn out as life passed me by. But I found something incredible in the mountains. When you're dehydrated, hot, and sore, and concerned more with surviving than whether or not you're really living, you're present. You are really living. Being ripped into the here and now by unpleasant sensations is still more fulfilling than not being here now. I started to realize how not here right now I'd been my whole life. I was also becoming more resilient. Experience was beginning to assure me that whatever the displeasure, it would eventually subside, and I would both have the satisfaction that comes from overcoming and the high of relief. Because of this, I was beginning to appreciate everything more. I was appreciating challenges instead of worrying about them. I was appreciating discomforts because they would make other things I'd considered uncomfortable seem comfortable. My perspective was dramatically altered, and I no longer saw the path to contentment as my capacity to satisfy desire, but as my capacity to change what I desire and reshape my perspective. Of course, you can't walk forever, I thought. So I bought a van and traveled the country for several years. The hole I'd previously felt reappeared, and the itch wilderness living had created was not getting scratched. When I met my wife, I was ready to take off in a backpack again, this time hitting the roads for a more social experience, having learned through my travels that human connection is just as vital to contentment as anything else. We cease to have purpose in a vacuum, where we aren't impacting our fellow man. If there's one general purpose we might assign the human race, it's to help each other. But as your waitress likely will when you tell her to run away with you in a backpack, she just giggled and said,
One step at a time. I eventually moved into the van, but after only a month and a half, I started to see what he couldn't shut up about, and while playing in the dirt, we began plans for the walk. I acclimated very quickly. The first week is the hardest, but over time you learn you can acclimate to almost anything. Unlike the van or Torrens mountain treks, this was a very social experience, and we both got even more out of it than we expected. We've been able to see the goodness of people so often hidden from us in daily life. People have housed us, fed us, and we're making some of the best friends we have ever had. Because of the people, we've gotten an insight into so many ways of life. From mansions to a camel farm, from metal band friends to Mennonite friends, we've made friends with the world. If you leave your preconceptions behind, you start to realize nearly everyone is trying to be good. We are all just very lost. We wanted to give back to those who have given us so much, so after our first loop, we started our website and social media, sharing some of the insights and hopefully a little of the happiness we found along the way. And now, during our second break from the walk, we've started this channel.
Here you can tune into the adventure, learn some of what we learn about this big, beautiful world, and maybe even find a little more contentment yourself.